Welcome to Under the Hood.
I'm Dr. Alex DeGrotto, your pelvic floor physical therapist.
And I'm Dr. Rebecca Howard-Udy, your sex and relationship therapist.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Alex.
All right, this was my idea.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
As the oldest,
Did
I
you
want to
think of
get
it
credit.
yourself, or did you?
No, okay, so I read certainly not. I read a Substack article from someone who had gone to couples therapy and basically ultimately ended up feeling that divorce was the right move and felt that the couples therapy prolonged the relationship. You can't blame one thing, I suppose, but
Sure.
in the article, people can be a little bit,
Yeah.
clickbaity maybe. I clicked on it. So anyway, it prolonged the relationship for 10 more years.
Yeah.
And really
sounds like good couples therapy.
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah,
well, it
totally.
Sounds like the couples therapy was effective as a Band-Aid, but it didn't solve the underlying issues. And this person felt like that was not a good thing.
Yeah.
They would have
we should have totally that it really wasn't the right relationship and it needed to end.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really got me thinking, and I hate to admit that I had never pondered this before, but do you, and if so, how do you help people discern that? And do you have opinions about that? I had always presumed, obviously wrongly, that the goal was to get the relationship to be successful. But now I'm realizing, actually, maybe you're helping them realize they're not the right fit.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that is.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, which makes so much sense.
Yeah. So there is a particular type of counseling, which I am not there's a certification
process
process
is there?
that
Okay.
you go through. It's called discernment counseling.
Wow. Okay.
And I often refer people to it.
Okay, cool.
So when people come and they are not, a lot of times there's one person who's leaning out more.
Yep.
Or there's a lot in the relationship that I, think is not viable.
Yeah.
I will refer people to discernment counseling. And so when they go to discernment counseling, the person that they work with is going to do, it's first of all, it's a limited time.
Okay.
So if I don't think that people are going to make it, or if they're not sure that they're going to make it, or I don't think they're a good candidate for couples therapy, I always tell them to go to discernment counseling first, because couples therapy is an emotional and financial commitment.
Yes.
So discernment counseling, it's 4 to 6 sessions.
Okay.
Like limited time. I mean, it could even be less than that.
Got it.
But that's the longest that it would be. And it's a combination of individual and couples sessions.
Got it.
So the therapist is not doing couples therapy. They are very specifically trying to help the couple to choose from 3 possible paths.
Okay.
So the first one is they break up.
Yep.
Second one is they do couples therapy and they commit to a certain period of time where they're not going to be talking about breaking up. So they don't commit to the relationship forever. It's not like they're renewing their vows, but it's typically like 6 months where they might say, okay, we're going to move forward. We're going to do couples therapy for 6 months and then reassess.
Got it.
Or they decide to change nothing.
Wow. And then go to couples therapy.
Or not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, you could say this relationship is not salvageable. We don't want to invest in couples therapy. And we're not ready to break up. Maybe there's financial reasons for that. Maybe the kids, maybe you say, we're going to stay together until the kids go off to college and then we're going to get divorced.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, right now, we're not changing anything.
And so when you decide that someone needs to go to discernment therapy before they work with you, or perhaps even instead in some cases, what are some of the signs for that for you?
So I've never referred clients. I have tried to refer current clients to discernment counseling.
Okay.
But what often happens is that they don't want to leave couples therapy.
Okay.
But more commonly, it's during my initial consultation with someone. So when me or any other therapist would do a brief, like 15, 20-minute consultation. And so usually it's when one person is leaning out. So usually people will come to me and their relationship is in crisis.
Yeah.
Typically the person who really wants the relationship to work is the one either doing the consultation or they're the one who scheduled the consultation. And so I always ask about the buy-in of the other partner.
Yep.
That's super important. If you're going to do couples therapy, both people really need to be bought in.
Yeah.
And so if that is not there, like I literally ask about that
Okay.
during the consultation.
Mm-hmm.
And if buy-in of both people is not there, then I would suggest either, trying to figure out how to get buy-in. Like I might
Yeah.
give some advice to the client that I'm talking to about how to get buy-in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so for instance, never make couples therapy a fight.
Yeah.
If your partner does not like a particular couples therapist, it's not worth the fight. You just
Yeah.
find a different one. You
Yep.
need to both be bought in
Okay.
and like the person
I
and
see.
feel comfortable with them. But also like if one person really wants to get a divorce and the other person is like, no, no, we really need to save the relationship, that might be a situation where discernment counseling, best best case scenario in terms of if you're talking about wanting to save the relationship, you get the leaning out partner to buy in for a limited period of time so that you can do the relationship counseling. But also, if they don't, then you then have a path forward as well, and you
Mm-hmm.
haven't wasted time.
Okay. And so what about when you have couples in your therapy? Now I feel like we've mostly talked about steering them into,
Yeah, into discernment.
what about if they're already with you? Kind of, are there cases where you together as a group say, this feels like it's moving towards dissolution
Oh,
or whatever?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have often said to clients who I'm really concerned about your relationship.
Yeah.
I think that, a lot of times what ends up happening is that people sort of, it's kind of like an extreme example of we feel like roommates
Mm,
where they have an in-home separation,
okay.
which is not formalized in any
Sure. I
way.
understand. I know a lot of people that do that. Yep.
Exactly. And so if I see that happening to one of my
Hmm.
clients, especially if it has happened over time,
Yeah.
I will say, I'm really concerned about your relationship. This is, I think that your relationship is headed for divorce.
Hmm.
Like, what are you thinking about? Like, I think that a lot of times couples therapists are afraid to talk about divorce,
Yeah.
but clients are talking about divorce.
Yeah.
And if
Totally.
they're not talking about divorce, they're thinking about
Yeah.
divorce. Like
It's the elephant in the room.
it's
So
the
just bring it
elephant in
up.
the
Yeah.
room.
Hmm.
Exactly. And so, um, if it's on,
Their
it is
mind.
often on someone's
Uh-huh.
mind long before they would bring it up and talk about
Yeah, yeah, totally. And so you sort of allow the space for that healthy discourse essentially
it.
to
Yeah.
say, this is an option. And it might be the one that both of you are thinking of, but not wanting to say
Yeah.
or whatever. Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a tough conversation.
That's what I do, Ellen.
Although maybe it feels like a breath of fresh air for them to like actually have a space to discuss it in sort of a safe with an objective person.
Yeah. I mean, I think that if if as a couples therapist you are so gung ho about saving the relationship,
Yeah,
people don't want to disappoint you.
totally.
They're like, well,
Mm,
she really believes in the relationship. I mean, I
mm.
think we should get divorced, but she really believes in it. So I'm not going to tell
Yeah,
her what
she's the
I'm really
expert.
feeling.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, she's the
totally.
expert. I do think that there are certainly times when I will often say to clients, this is such a strength in your relationship.
Hmm.
Look at what you did here. That was really amazing. This was really different.
Yeah,
How did it feel? And helping people to reflect on the strengths in their relationship
yeah,
is different than not talking about what their fears, their concerns, their worries are
totally.
for the relationship.
Yeah, and I think actually that's so refreshing when you feel like someone is noticing the strengths. It's nice.
Yeah.
It can allow you to revive what you feel is the strengths too, I would imagine.
Yes. I occasionally, very occasionally, have been surprised when a couple's gotten divorced. There's some times where I'll work with them for a period of time and they get to a point where things are a little bit better and then they'll end, because of logistical
Sure.
reasons, or they just are like, okay, we don't want to do this anymore. I wouldn't recommend that they finish, but they end. This has happened before. And then they come back during the course of their divorce. I also do divorce coaching.
To make it as sort of healthy and respectful and amicable as possible type of thing.
Well, it becomes, if there's kids involved,
Yeah.
when you have a divorce, both people need to be able to put aside their own feelings,
Oh
hurt
yeah, big
feelings,
time.
all of that
Hmm.
to focus on the kids. And it's the beginning of a new relationship.
Hmm.
So all of that old bullshit that was there.
It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
And it's not done is
Yeah.
the issue. And that's, during a divorce, obviously it gets nasty and everything. But to the extent to which people can just focus on the kids and focus on respect for their former partner and their current co-parenting partner, it is like solid gold. Like what happens during a divorce sets the tone for the future relationship. And it often gets very contentious. And then a lot of times that's a huge rupture.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to
heal, especially for the kids. So that's interesting because I've actually seen a lot of people doing that really well in more recent years. And I wonder if it's because they had somebody like you helping them kind of navigate that process.
Or perhaps a personal therapist.
Yeah.
Too,
oh, yeah.
an
for
individual
sure.
therapist, because you do need a place to put that. I mean, the anger and the sadness and the betrayal.
But then your love for your kids overcomes.
Well, it's maturity.
It's emotional maturity.
Emotional maturity. And that is, hard when you're hurting.
You're hurting and you want the other person to feel hurt too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really tricky.
So occasionally I've been really surprised that people have gotten divorced. And usually it's when they haven't disclosed, they're sometimes people just don't tell the truth, even in their
That
therapy.
was in the article I read that the husband, according to the writer, was just lying constantly to and making it sound like he was doing everything he could. And she personally didn't feel like he was doing anything at all and that it was just a facade.
Right.
So I'm sure there was maybe some mix in there, but.
Well, when you have someone like that who's lying in therapy and then like completely like not really willing or capable of change, I feel like as a therapist, as a couples therapist, I often feel like an ethical obligation to really call that out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times that will come up in therapy.
Yeah, totally.
Because that, if someone's saying something in therapy and then outside they're doing the exact opposite or it's total bullshit, that's going to come up. Their partner is going to call them out.
Yeah.
And so if I really think that there's a lack of capacity for change, which doesn't happen that often, usually it's just two sort of imperfect people who just are, their not
own
able
baggage.
to figure it out. But sometimes you do have someone who genuinely is, narcissistic, or they have like these really ingrained personality traits. They're a, pathological liar, or they are cheating all the time. And there really is a limited capacity to even want to change.
Yeah.
That is something that I will often talk to the partner about and say, is this something you can live with?
Yeah.
People live with all kinds of things in relationships for all kinds of reasons. And it's not my job to say what is or isn't the right thing to live with, but we need to be realistic about who we're married to and their capacity to change.
Yeah, interesting.
So I think that that's one of the places where people really want to believe that their relationship can change and their partner can change. And most of the time it can, to a certain extent.
Yeah. One thing that's coming up for me as you're talking is what you said earlier about both parties needing to have the buy-in. And I think there might be some stereotypes around couples therapy where if it's a heterosexual relationship, the male partner will presume that the therapist is just going to blame them for everything that happens. Does that come up at all for you?
You mean are male partners afraid that they're going to get blamed?
Correct.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so that would make them resistant, even though, of course, they want the relationship.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't say, of course. In many instances, I would say the buy-in is not because they don't want the relationship to succeed. It's more so because they're hesitant about the therapy for that reason.
I think that is more often the case, is that they're hesitant about therapy. A lot of times people will, say, does this mean we're getting divorced? Like they're resistant.
Yeah, they presume that it's something really bad, which you've said in the past, come sooner, come when,
absolutely. It's so much better.
Don't wait till it's a disaster.
Yeah, exactly. However, that is not a lot of people's perspectives.
Yeah.
And so they are afraid to come to therapy. They're afraid of what it's going to mean for their relationship. That's why, a lot of times if I usually do the consultation with both people.
Okay.
But sometimes not. Sometimes, I don't make it a prerequisite. So sometimes I just have one partner who does the consultation with me. And whenever that happens, I always say please offer this same consultation to your partner. They need to also feel comfortable with
for sure.
working with me.
Mm-hmm.
And if at any point it does not feel like a good fit, then I just refer people. I mean, that is just, not everybody's going to be the right fit for everybody. And in reality, not all therapists are created equal in the same way that you say that about pelvic floor PTs. So people often come to me. A lot of times the couples that I see have seen 2, 3 more other couples therapists. And a lot of times they've had a bad experience.
Totally. Yeah.
Like their couples therapist has diagnosed them with, I don't want people to scare people off of
totally.
couples therapy,
But just to say, if you have a negative experience, be brave and try again. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if it feels like that therapist is
totally.
If it feels like the therapist is taking your partner's side and you feel really, say it.
Yeah.
To go and tell your therapist, I feel totally alienated. I feel like the two of you are ganging up on me.
Right.
I've had clients say that to me.
Yeah.
And, sometimes couples therapists do take sides.
Yeah.
Like Terry Real, who's a famous, couples therapist and who does training, famously says, I take sides.
Yeah.
So the idea that a couples therapist would
could remain
sides,
totally neutral.
Totally is not reality. But one of the things that does happen is that, whenever I point out a behavior or whenever it feels like I'm taking sides to somebody, it is not because I don't like that person.
Sure. Yeah. You're just trying to notice the behavior and bring it to light.
I want them to get more of what they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we all have behaviors that are working against us.
So true. Yeah, I know that you have mixed feelings about the Gottmans, but the Gottman Institute newsletter oftentimes talks about that. When someone is saying this, but they actually mean this, and if they had just said it that way from the start, this really hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
As opposed to, why the hell didn't you do this? It's so different because it's the hurt underneath the anger that gets missed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And so those protective behaviors, those often feel like people identify so strongly with them because they don't know what else to do.
Totally.
And so when those start to get challenged, it can feel really...
Yeah, and the verbal skills just aren't there.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's hard to know how to talk about feelings. That's why everyone needs your pillow.
The feelings pillow.
That was hilarious when I learned that there was a feelings pillow. I think it's really one of those skills that not everyone is taught. And then I was also thinking, as you were talking, about the life that you grew up in. So if somebody grew up in a household where perhaps the example that they lived with was not a healthy example of what a relationship could look like, then they don't actually know what a healthy relationship could look like. They're sort of just doing what they saw, doing what they learned from childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Those patterns.
The pattern, right.
Yeah.
And so then, it was unlucky that you didn't get that healthy example, but you could still learn it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of times, sort of along with that is when couples come to me or when they are sort of on the brink of divorce or concerned about their relationship, they often ask me, can you save this relationship? Does this sound like something that's salvageable?
Mm-hmm.
And what I always tell them is, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not every relationship is meant to stay together.
Yeah, right.
Some couples really genuinely are happier, better off divorced.
Yeah.
And that is the right path for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I have never worked with a couple who has gotten divorced where their communication wasn't stronger during the divorce because of the work that they did.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Of course, when you start to get divorced, the way that you communicate, the boundaries in the relationship, all of that are going to change dramatically.
Yeah.
But if you learn how to not to name feelings, to use I statements, to communicate in a more vulnerable way that is less protected, less defended, less defensive, less blaming, less critical, all of those things help the long-term prospects of having an amicable divorce, like a good divorce.
Yeah, totally.
Versus a terrible, horrible, scarring divorce.
Mm-hmm. And I think the respect there, it's so challenging when you feel hurt and wounded and, like you said, vulnerable. But if you have those skills and you keep the sort of greater good in mind, if you have kids especially, then you actually can go through that process in a healthy way.
Yes. I would never have a client that I thought that they should get divorced.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think that they should get divorced. I rarely think you should really get divorced.
Yeah, no, of course not.
But that I have serious concerns
Mm-hmm.
about the long-term prospects of their relationship, or really think that they're doing damage to each other. I would never work with someone and feel that way and not tell them.
Yeah.
That is always something that is
Yeah.
very much part of the
Open.
conversation and open.
And then maybe they say, whoa, geez, okay. You know, we got to really both buckle in if we want this.
That's
or
right.
they can be like, whew, I was thinking that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
either
right.
way, there's maybe some clarity there.
Yeah. And so the thing that I will often do when I think this is, I will say, these are the issues in the relationship. This is what you'd have to do to fix them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you're willing to, like, can we work on that?
Yeah.
And sometimes people say, yes, no, we don't want to get divorced. I hear you. That's where we're headed. We don't want to go there. Let's do all the things. And they pull it back. I mean, I have seen couples who on the surface look like,
Yeah, this isn't going to
absolutely,
happen.
this is not going to work. Like, this relationship is doomed. Actually builds like incredibly strong,
That's awesome. Yeah.
healthy relationships. And I have seen couples who on the surface look like they're doing just fine. It turns out not, and they get divorced. So, you know, I know the Gottmans say they can predict divorce from all
do they?
other things. Oh yeah. They like,
with
like
a
very
the Black
high
Horseman or whatever.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
Four Horsemen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like they say, like, we get someone in our lab and we can predict with like 90%.
Oh yeah, look at the birds. And if the partner doesn't say like, oh yeah, the birds, then I remember that.
I mean, honestly, like their research is there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have that magic skill to have people in my lab and to have, so I don't know. I
remember that example, that it's turning towards the bid.
That's all.
Yeah. I don't know the words.
I mean, the Gottmans have so many, like, what they take these like
very complex and distill.
Oh, they do it so
for the lay person.
They do it so brilliantly. There's so much to learn from them.
Yeah, but it's not always that simple. I'm hearing you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not for a clinician.
Sure. Yeah. I get that. Wow. This has been so illuminating. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to Under the Hood. If you liked this episode, please take a minute and leave us a review. And we'd love to hear from you. If you have any ideas for future episodes, please let us know.